Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a concept that I don't think has been really discussed in other places, right? Especially on the internet. But in order to expand your business team or whatever it is, your knowledge base, you're going to have to engage the help of other people. And those people, especially if they're good at what they do, will want to get paid. Okay? And one of the most important skills, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that you're going to have is to learn how to be a good prospect and customer. Okay? Because I don't know if you ever watched that Seinfeld episode of the Soup Nazi, right? Where he goes like, "No soup for you," because you just kind of do whatever you want in his soup kitchen. You kind of have to be like that, but in a nicer way, or at least I'm like that, right? And because what happens is that too many people, when they become bad customers, they give bad vibes to business owners and they don't want to provide business anymore, right? So I don't know if you've ever seen those videos on YouTube where like the contractor destroys his own work because he realized like the client's nitpicky and not going to pay, and you take a look at the video like that's pretty good work. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not 100% perfect, but good enough is good enough. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is that if we in the marketplace decide we're not going to pay other people for their services, they're going to be like, "F this, I'm out." Right? It's kind of like how big companies in California are like, "Well, if the government's not going to do their job, F this, I'm out." Right? People who have their act together are not going to want to do business with people who don't have their act together. Okay? And one of the ways that you can get your act together as a customer is actually pay the people whose services that you engage. And this is just my personal philosophy. If I get on a phone call with you and I've booked that call and this is going to be, let's say, a quote, a sales call, I'm 99.999% determined, like before the call, that I'm going to pay you. Right? I'm just there for an introduction. I'm not there to haggle you. I'm not there to accuse you. Oh my goodness, like, what is this? Blah, 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 blah. You know, people do that. And I'm going to tell you a story about, 2 years ago, and you might have heard this in another YouTube video, of a prospect who wanted to rent my rental property, right? He comes in and then he like points out all the flaws in the house and then it's like, oh my goodness, I need a $200 discount. And then I don't rent to him. And he's like angry, like why I won't rent to him. Well, there was another prospect who called me the next week and said, I'll give you a year's worth of rent up front. And I said, okay. And that renter, that person actually became the renter, sent me a text message the day where I gave the keys and said, thank you so much. We appreciate you. No problem since then, right? And so, who do you think I want to work with? The person who's making a big fuss and making it seem like I'm trying to rip them off at every single term because I asked for a holding fee because they said they wouldn't move in immediately, or the person who said, I'm just going to give you the rent up front and I have all the money in the world? Let me think about this. Hmm, I don't want to deal with people who don't have their stuff together. Okay, I'll deal with the person who makes life really easy for me and is actually going to pay me. Because what happens is you could just look on Reddit, right? Client won't pay Reddit. How to not lose your SHIT when clients don't pay. How to deal with a client who won't pay after services. It says probably been completed. Let me just see what it says. Ugh, whatever. After service has been done, right? How to deal with the client not paying an invoice. And this is a rookie mistake that a lot of small business owners make, which is that you're going to provide service, aka, we call this in the business world, you're actually providing credit, you're providing goods and services before payment has been rendered, and not actually evaluating your client, right? That you're actually providing them credit when you provide the service or good and they haven't paid yet. Okay? So what's the point of this video, right? The point of this video is that I see too many people acting like bad customers and prospects and clients, because one of the crazy things that happens is that when you make an offer to a lot of people, they'll be like, you're insane for wanting to get paid, and act like you're some sort of scam artist. And then now, as a business owner and service provider, we got to act like this guy. Remember this guy from Seinfeld? No soup for you, right? No soup for you. And so what happens, and this has happened to me just several times on Zoom calls, where I make an offer, and again, it wasn't that bad previously. It's $2,000 for a lifetime of education, and you get to work with, well, not me, it's not me coaching you, it's just me holding a super secret, whatever it's called, super secret mastermind. I don't like using mastermind, to be honest, but I make an offer, right? And then people go nuts, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that whatever you have to offer is, has no value. And then they make like a big fuss about, and it's only like 2 grand, but because, you just admitted on the call you're broke, instead of asking questions like, well, how can I afford it? Or is there anything you can help me to help me afford it? You're going to make like a big fuss about like how I'm a scam artist. And I'm just like, I'm like, no soup for you, whatever. Right? So, or the other thing do is I cringe, right? Like I cringe. Like, okay, and here's the thing, right? Here's how like if you make a declaration that I'm a scam artist and that I need your money or something like that, I'm trying to rip you off. Guess what? I don't need your money because I paid off a mortgage under 3 years, right? And the other thing too is that the bank has basically anally probed my finances, and one of the things that you'll know about banks is they don't lend money to people who need it. And so, how am I able to get this $280,000 home equity line of credit first lien? It's because I don't need the money, right? Like, again, I don't like when people do things like that where they try to like make a big deal about um, about whatever service that I'm offering has no value, and then I like, all right, well, the billionaire who I talked to, like, they're at telling me like I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and then you're poor and you're telling me that I'm trying to rip you off. Then I'm just like, all right, whatever. Roll my eyes. Now here's the thing, okay? As business owners and as service providers, we always need to get paid. And to be honest, even though I don't need the money, right? Why do we need to get paid? It's because there's no if you do things for free, there's no skin in the game, and people who don't pay, they don't pay attention. Okay? This is why if you make a big fuss about paying me and act like I'm trying to rip you off, I'm like, I won't say this to your face, but I'm just going to say, see ya. And then I just never follow up with you again, right? You need to be a good customer. What's really important is that you have repeated transactions with the people that you work with. And so whenever somebody sends me an invoice, when I'm the client, I pay them immediately, right? And I've shown you the screenshots where it's like somebody sent me a text message at 7:04, like, hey, I sent the invoice to your email. And then at 7:04, I just said, thanks, I paid. And I know I gave incredibly positive vibes and energy to that person, right? And so when I have to call them again, they're actually going to pick up the phone, because the problem that a lot of you probably have is that nobody's going to pick up your phone or want to do anything for you. In fact, I hear this complaint a lot, like, oh my goodness, it's so hard to get people to do things for me. And it's like, well, let's see how you're acting, right? Not a good customer. You're not a good client. You're not a good prospect, right? You want to always think about what's in it for the other person that you're engaging with. And if you're trying to suck them dry and get everything from them and kind of be like these people where it's like they're just angry now because you put bad vibes in the marketplace as a customer, they're not going to want to do business with you. And then you're eventually going to become this guy, right? Like, well, not you, the client, you as the service provider. No soup for you, right? So, again, now where does this all come from? It's just from this attitude that many people act like they're insane for wanting to get paid. Like, we really need to stop that, right? Like, when I get on a call with other people, other professionals, I actually want to pay them. Like, hey man, I want to make sure, and I don't tell them this explicitly. I want to make sure that you're successful, that you have enough resources to do the job that you're supposed to do. Yeah, I definitely want you to get paid. Because the last thing I do want to do is nickel and dime you, and you can't continue your business because I was just a cheap customer who act like I had to nickel and dime you, right? I want to make sure that you're a professional who gets paid and can keep continuing your service, right? Because let's say, we have a car dealership and we're discounting way too much and we have these lifetime warranties. Well, what good is a lifetime warranty if we don't get paid sufficiently, right? So, but that's the problem with most people. They just want to, like, suck your blood like a vampire. and then act like you're insane for wanting to get paid for your services and goods. We can't be bad customers, right? We don't grow our team by being cheap customers either. Okay? But so that's the story and lesson for the day. And here's the thing. I just think it's funny at this stage of my life where people try to accuse me that I need their money. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, you probably did that act to someone else and then they reacted to you. I'm just like, all right, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, whatever. Paid off my mortgage in 3 years. I don't need you. Go away. Right. And to be honest, I'm probably a little bit nicer these days than I was in the past because in the past I literally would tell you like, don't ever talk to me again. Right. I literally was this guy in the past. Was like, well, you're accusing me of something that I know that I'm not, so get out and don't talk to me again. Oh, these days I'm a little bit nicer. Well, I'll just smile at your face and then I'll send you emails saying, "Hey, you know what? According to this, I just don't think I can make this work." So, and then I'll just I'll say goodbye. But that's you want to be in this position, right? And that's why, you don't depend on one person for anything. I don't know if you ever heard of the concept from McDonald's, where one of the problems that they had is that back then, or even I think this even occurs today, is the concept of a people-oriented business where if your talent, you're dependent too much on the talents of your people, right? They hold your business hostage. Whereas if you have a system-oriented business like McDonald's, you can easily get rid of people and then replace them the next day, right? And that's how you kind of have to act with your clients as well. Don't depend on one client for payment. Depend on multiple, and if some one client doesn't pay you, you can easily replace them, right? Same thing with the rental property. You want to be in a position of strength. If one renter doesn't pay you, see you, good luck. Don't you're not gonna beg them to pay, and then you replace them with another one, right? And that's how you kind of become strong as a service provider, because you don't want too many blood sucking whoever's to engage your services with. And if you know how to build your foundation of strength, again, your business is like a castle, your finances are part of your castle. You don't have to be dependent on one person for your finances, right? And if your finances are strong, then banks will want to lend to you because banks don't lend money to people who need it. So what's the point of this? When people accuse you of like, hey, oh my goodness, like you're just in it for the money, it's like, I don't even need your money, right? I want you to have some skin in the game because the last thing I want is people join my Zoom calls and put their negative attitude and energy towards it because they're going to act like I need their money and think that I should be begging them for the business, which I'm not. I, it makes me sick that people do that. But that's what, especially when you tell me you're broke, okay, and I'm trying to give you like find ways to help you, and you bring that bad attitude towards me. I'm just like roll my eyes, right? But that's kind of sad that that's where we are as a country, where I have to make videos of like, yeah, you know what? You should actually pay people if you engage in their services as a client, right? Pay them, and then they'll magically want to gravitate towards you, magically. And if you don't pay them, then you're gonna be the subject of a Reddit post about how you basically brought bad vibes into the marketplace, right? How to not lose your when clients don't pay. And this is why I never engage at all. I never provide any service if someone's not going to pay in the very beginning because people who don't pay attention. If they don't pay attention, right? And the worst offenders are people acting like you're insane for wanting to get paid. Like, oh my goodness, like, what you're asking for money? I'm like, okay, like, roll my eyes, right? Like, even renters will do that. Like, how stupid are people? But that's where we are as a society today. That's why we're gonna make these videos so that if I get on another Zoom call, you've been sufficiently trained how to act to me, right? Because I don't want to have to teach you how to like act in my restaurant, but that's what I'm going to have to do going forward. Because I'm greatly disappointed, except for the very first 5 people who got on a Zoom call. I've been disappointed by the quality of prospects who joined my call. And so now I'm going to have to train you how to act towards me, and you're going to submit the form. Okay? All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll speak next time.